There are 3 scriptures that I read that after I read them, I thought, oh my goodness, I have the answers to the questions of the universe. Okay. We're going to do something a little bit different tonight. Instead of reading something out of D&C, I'm going to read 3 scriptures that when I was learning about the church, they just clicked for me when I realized, oh my gosh, we have the answers to the questions of the universe. Okay, seems dramatic, but like for real. Now, I remember life extremely well, not knowing what I know now. Like, I remember my biggest fear driving is I would drive growing up past a cemetery and my hands would get all like clammy. Because I just, like, the unrest and the unknown that it brought me. Like, people go their entire lives knowing and wondering things and seeking after things that we know. You know what I mean? Some people go their whole lives seeking after these answers and the meaning and sometimes never finding it. So many people like dedicate like this lifelong quest to knowing answers and sometimes they don't find it. So I was reading, and the 3 scriptures that we're going to read tonight are so super fast that in probably not even 2 minutes, you will also know the answers to the questions of the universe that these people sometimes dedicate their whole lives seeking after. The first one being Alma 40, verses 11 through 12. And it says, the spirits of all men, as soon as they are departed from this mortal body, yea, the spirits of all men, whether they be good or evil, are taken home to that God who gave them life. And it shall come to pass that the spirits of those who are righteous are received into a state of happiness, which is called paradise, a state of rest, a state of peace, where they shall rest from all their troubles, from all their care and sorrow. And this was the scripture that I read in the Book of Mormon. This was the first thing I ever read in the Book of Mormon. I purposely looked it up because I grew up Catholic, and I wanted to know, well, really, I mean, because my biggest fear was death, is death, still kind of different from before though. Well, what happens? Because to me, if I knew that there really is an answer to the biggest question of the universe, I needed to know what it was. What happens to me? What next? And in the 15 seconds that it took me to read that one out of many verses that talks about it, I knew exactly what happens to me when I die. Like that. 15 seconds. And I knew. After 21 years of sweaty palms and a faster heart rate. And just like that, I knew it. Okay, the next one is Doctrine and Covenants 135, verse 4. And that's when Joseph went to Carthage jail, to deliver himself up to the pretended requirements of the law 2 or 3 days previous to his assassination. And he said, I am going like a lamb to the slaughter, but I am calm as summer's morning. Now, learning about the church in upstate New York, most of my lessons were in the Sacred Grove. And when you have the visitor center right there, what we would do every single time I went there was watch Joseph Smith, Prophet of the Restoration. I still know that full-length movie by heart, word for word. And if any of you have seen this movie, the scene when Joseph and Emma look at each other when he is riding away on horse, and he knows he's going to be murdered. They both know that he is not coming back. And the look that they give each other. And then the scene where there's bullets flying everywhere. And he's out by the window. And he says his very last words before he falls from his 2-story window to his death. His last words were, "Oh Lord, my God." And it is in this moment where I knew he's a prophet. As he falls to his death saying, "Oh Lord, my God," I felt that he was, which means this church is worth pursuing and learning more about. And so the very last scripture we're going to read tonight is one of maybe the scripture that made me seal the deal. Done deal. This is it. Alma 36:15 through 20, although I don't think I'm reading all of the verses. I think I shortened it. Oh, thought I. Does anyone know what this is? Oh, thought I, that I could be banished and become extinct both soul and body, that I might not be brought to stand in the presence of my God, to be judged of my deeds. And now for 3 days, 3 nights was I racked, even with the pains of a damned soul. And it came to pass that I was thus racked with torment, while I was harrowed up by the memory of my many sins. Behold, I remembered also to have heard my father prophesy unto the people concerning the coming of one Jesus Christ, the Son of God, to atone for the sins of the world. Now, as my mind caught hold upon this thought, I cried within my heart, "O Jesus, thou Son of God, have mercy on me, who am in the gall of bitterness and am encircled about by the everlasting chains of death." And now, behold, when I thought this, I could remember my pains no more. Yea, I was harrowed up by the memory of my sins no more. And oh, what joy! What marvelous light I did behold. Yea, my soul was filled with joy as exceeding as was my pain. Now, do you know the wording that we just read? Did that stick out to you the way that it did to me? The coming of one Jesus Christ? So like, whoa, wait, what? The coming of one Jesus Christ. That means all of that happened. All of that forgiveness, all of that change, all of that comfort, that second chance, all of that happened before Christ was even born yet. Which means the entire plan of salvation is real. Because that would mean, if Christ could heal and forgive Alma before Christ even came to earth, that meant that Christ was preordained to be Christ. That means pre-earth really did exist. That means I existed before I came here. That means I have a God, and he is real, and I am his. Which means why I am here has meaning, and it has purpose, and me being here has direction and help and counsel and guidelines. And that would mean I have the answers to the questions of the universe. Because I knew where I came from, why I'm here, and where I'm going. That means eternity is reality. I don't know if you can think of any scriptures that come to mind for you that you read and you're like, this is it. This is a done deal for me. If not, maybe we can go on a journey to find one. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of time every day to invest in this, to figuring it out for me. But when your soul, for the rest of its existence, a soul that can never die, is on the line, I know that it is worth the pursuit. I remember once, probably 7 years ago, I was teaching a young women's class, and I had them all write down all of their questions that they had. And instead of me going through and answering them, I let them pick at random someone else's question, and then they went to manuals and they went to scriptures, and I told them to find the answer. And this won't be always the case. There are some things I believe that we won't know the answer to quite yet, or maybe not even in this life. But in this certain case, every single person found an answer to their question that they picked out. Which means, well, are we investing in the time? I feel like sometimes we feel like we're being productive with something in our brain just because we're thinking about it a lot. But is thinking about it the same as problem solving? Not usually. I know that this is worth the time. I know that we have everything that we need. And it's pretty cool. Anyways, maybe tonight on your Friday night, if you're sitting bored, or really just in general, maybe a Sunday activity or a weekend activity, can you find a scripture? Or can you think of a scripture where you're like, this is it? I know that in times when I don't really hear him, see him, feel him the way that I want to in a hard time, or when the adversary is doing a really good job burrowing in my brain, getting into my thoughts and my wonders and my wanders and my doubts, holding on to sureties that I know that I have felt in the past, makes it easier for me to hold on in those harder times. Know what I mean? Tonight's reading was definitely unconventional. I will tackle our next chapter of D&C. It will happen. We will do it. But you have 3 quick verses to get some scripture into your night if you have yet to do that today. There you go. You guys are great. We'll see you tomorrow. It is way past my bedtime.